abduction, and bizarre medical experiments. They kept it a secret and feared that they were going crazy. But then a man named Whitley Strieber wrote a book called Communion about his own abduction experience. It was a breakthrough for all those people who felt it was finally safe to come forward.
In the middle of the night, I woke up and found myself, instead of being in my bed, in a little cramped room with what I perceived to be long faces with big black slanted bulging eyes staring at me. A lot of noise and activity around me. Something was fired into the side of my head, a little needle, and then it was just black. And the next morning I woke up. At first I thought I was crazy. And then I had to face the fact that it was something real that I did not understand. And it became clear that whatever it was, that it did appear to be contact with aliens. Did some research on them. Wrote a book about my experiences called Communion.
Communion was the first book to crystallize the alien abduction phenomenon. It was an instant hit and stayed on the bestseller list for nearly a year. The book's success transformed the lives of Whitley and Ann Strieber.
When the book Communion first came out, Whitley and Ann were receiving thousands of letters a month. It was very difficult to actually handle all that mail, and they felt that they had an obligation to respond to these letters. So the Communion letter was a response to try to generalize that communication so that we could help people who were writing to Whitley. There was no belief system that was being promoted. It really was like a networking effort.
The Communion newsletter continues to this day, but the focus has changed over the years. Fear of the aliens and suspicion about their motives has been replaced with an active pursuit of contact, the breakthrough Strieber describes in his latest book. Ed Conroy is a reporter who has charted Strieber's life after Communion in his own book and has found that not everyone believes that Strieber is sincere.
I got a lot of angry letters from various people who were trying to convince me that Whitley Strieber was emotionally unstable, a pathological liar, but I happened to notice that these letters were coming from people who appeared to be obsessed with vilifying Whitley Strieber.
I'm the bad guy all the way around. I am the guy that the skeptics say started the whole belief in alien abductions. And I don't follow the UFO community's holy writ. This is aliens from another planet, etc., and so forth at all. I mean, I don't genuinely know what it is. I just know it's something that we don't understand, and I want to understand it because it happens to me.
Many abduction experiencers turned their backs on the Striebers when they began to question the extraterrestrial origin of the phenomenon. But Whitley and Ann continue to pursue contact with visitors they believe are from another dimension.
I suspect they've always been here. Many religions have talked about beings like this, many legends, folklore. But I think right now our culture doesn't have a place for them. I think the visitors are here, and some people see them and some people don't.
In 1990, the Striebers took up permanent residence in this cabin in upstate New York. It is the same place where Whitley had his very first abduction experience in 1985.
It's an interesting place because a lot of people have had things happen back in here, unusual things. Hunters who have seen figures. I will bet you that if we went back 500 years and talked to Indians, we'd find they were telling the same stories.
Whitley wanted to write another book, but he feared continuing criticism from skeptics. So, before he began work on Breakthrough, Whitley claims he gave the visitors an ultimatum.
If I was going to write another book, they had to show me what they were doing. And they had to do this in multiple witness experiences, where I would be able to verify everything they were doing, step by step.
Over the next 5 years, the Striebers' cabin became a laboratory for the abduction experience. People from all over the country came here to make contact with the visitors and to be interviewed about their experiences. Many who came here did make contact, and for the first time since the project began, the Striebers have allowed a television crew to visit the sites where Whitley and his guests experienced most of their contact.
I felt something climb into the window. I thought it was a skunk or a raccoon that had climbed onto the bed. I very slowly rolled over, and what I saw was a small being crouched at the foot of the bed. 1 foot on the window ledge, 1 foot on the bed. Its leg was touching my leg. I could feel it as much as I'm feeling the chair under my body right now. It just very simply raised its hand. And my instinct, my reaction was, well, you fool, reach out and touch it, you know? Which is what I did. I just reached forward and allowed my fingertips to touch its fingertip. And what actually occurred at that moment was a sensation, not unpleasant, like what you'd feel if you touched a tuning fork, you know, a vibration. Down my hand, down my side, almost like a circuit was made to the point where its leg touched mine.
I saw a large glowing ball of light that came from behind the group and floated over the level of the trees, and really not very high above us. I mean, it was very close to us. And I must say that that was an extraordinary thing to see.
Breakthrough chronicles many of the visitations his guests have experienced here. But despite hundreds of accounts from independent experiencers, Strieber still struggles to understand why. Why this place? Why him?
10 years have passed. I've had many of these encounter experiences. And it has been the hardest thing in my life. It has, in many respects, destroyed my life. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's better than climbing Mount Everest. It's been the most exciting darn thing. Incredible experience.
Whitley Strieber believes that within the next few years, there will be yet another breakthrough in the abduction phenomenon. He feels that the visitors, as he describes them, will reveal themselves in a